We've got some rumors and some long overdue news on one former Cowboy player coming up on today's show. Before we dive into that, I want to thank you all for clicking on this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We are on the verge of 66,000 subscribers, which is the next step towards my ultimate goal of 69,000, because that is just so nice here. We are the #1 Cowboys channel on YouTube, so if you haven't already, now is the time to hit that big red button and subscribe. News on Drew Pearson. He's going to go into the NFL Hall of Fame. Now, this is not officially official quite yet. There still has to be a vote, but in reality, Pearson is finally getting in. Now, he was selected as the lone nominee by the Pro Football Hall of Fame Senior Committee. These senior nominees are almost always locks for the Hall of Fame. They get in. They just kind of take that next step, and they push them along. The whole Hall of Fame committee does. He's the lone member, by the way, of that 1970s All-Decade team not in the Hall of Fame. At long last, this wrong is finally being corrected. I know the stats don't look great. I will remind you, this is a very different era of football that we currently live in. A 3-time All-Pro. Historically speaking, the members of those All-Decade teams, they get in. It's a little crazy that Pearson still had to wait so long to get in. For me, it's a long overdue decision by the Hall of Fame, and Pearson was very upset about the way the whole process went down last year, not getting in. That wrong has finally been corrected. So if you think it's long overdue and it's finally time, I want you guys to like this video. Let's dive in now to the rumors from one receiver, former, to a current receiver. How about Michael Gallup being a #1 receiver? That's what Mike McCarthy says. I'm inclined to agree. Now, we can debate exactly how you define #1 receiver and whatnot, but I think from a practical standpoint, yes, he is that. I'm not saying he's #1 for the Cowboys even, but in general, yeah, his production, his ability, his talent has been that of a #1 guy. Here's what McCarthy had to say. Let's make it clear. Michael Gallup's a #1 receiver in my view. I think we're fortunate to have 3 players with that level of potential to go out and play at that level. Gallup last year, despite not having the same maybe volume of targets that other top-end receivers can get because of just, well, Amari Cooper exists and Cobb was also involved, he put up some great numbers last year. And there are a variety of NFL teams out there that would love to have Michael Gallup because he would instantly be, and in many cases by a wide margin, the best receiver on their team. Instead, he's in Dallas with what I consider the best trio of receivers in the NFL in Cooper, Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. But who will be the #1 receiver for the Dallas Cowboys? Who will be wide receiver 1 in 2020? This will be the pinned comment on today's video, so scroll on down and get your votes in. Type AC for Amari Cooper, MG for Michael Gallup, and CL for CeeDee Lamb. Let's talk defense now. Trysten Hill, is he getting a shot? Yeah, 4 stars on this one, the second-year pro. This is his opportunity. With Gerald McCoy out for the year, the Cowboys are going to give Trysten Hill and Crawford and Gallimore too, yes. He's going to get his chance. This was already an important training camp for Trysten Hill because he was fighting, frankly, I thought, for a roster spot. Now he's fighting for a role. And if Trysten Hill does not impress, that's a bad sign for his long-term career. He has an opportunity. Because of injury, it happens in the NFL, the Cowboys now have a chance to let Trysten Hill show why they made him a second-round pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. Now, Dontari Poe still working his way off that PUP list. I think he'll be back in the near future. You will see Tyrone Crawford. You will see Gallimore. You'll see Antoine Woods as well. But with Crawford also kind of still rehabbing and not quite a full 100% go yet, that leaves a ton of reps, a ton of snaps for Trysten Hill. Although I do understand if you're not particularly confident in Hill right now. So get your votes in. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your confidence level in Trysten Hill? 1 being cut him right now, 10 being you think he's going to be even better than Gerald McCoy was going to be in 2020. Now, today's show is made possible by our friends over at Panda Supps. Head over to pandasupps.com. they'll save you 30% off if you use promo code Cowboys on all of their products, including their pre-workout. Now, if you're like me, once you get off work, you're a little bit tired, you don't have the energy or the drive to go work out. Pre-workout will help change that. I take a scoop right before I leave work. By the time I'm home, I am amped, I am wired, and I am ready to actually have my workout and not skip leg day like Mitchell Renz does all the time. So head over to pandasupps.com, get that 30% off with code Cowboys. We mentioned Trysten Hill. Many of you have asked, Tom, who could the Cowboys trade for in terms of replacing McCoy at defensive tackle? The popular name out there is one Maurice Hurst, which I like. I was a huge fan of him coming out of Michigan. I don't consider it all that likely. I will be the Debbie Downey once again and only give it the 1 star. Would I explore it? Sure, you know I would, and you know how much I love a good trade. But even though there's a need for the Cowboys, I do believe they want to see what Gallimore and Hill and company can do. And then on the flip side, if you're the Raiders, yes, I know you went out and you added Malik Collins, and maybe you could find a way to include Trysten Hill on a draft pick because Rod Marinelli wants to get the band back together again in Vegas. I don't think the Raiders are ready to part ways with Hurst quite yet. I think there's some talent there. There's some ability. He is a good football player. Yes, he would come in, I think, be a nice addition for you. But I think hypothetically you're giving up an early day 3 pick, maybe a late day 2 pick, and you just spent 2 of those on defensive tackles. You can't keep spending the same pick on the same position because you're going to neglect other areas. So I would explore a Maurice Hurst trade if the cost is right. I think for the Raiders, who are still going to use him as a rotation and don't want to bail on players because they might have a player get hurt as well, I think that makes the cost a little bit too high. But I am curious what draft pick you guys would be willing to give up in exchange for Mo Hurst. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, kind of some more camp updates and notes and rumblings out here. How about more usage for Tony Pollard? Now, we've talked about this a lot last year, and that's why I'm only giving it 3 stars. I believe it to be true. We saw flashes and moments of it last season, and I believe that the Jason Garrett-led offense always kind of, stepped down, and that kind of prevented the full creativity of Kellen Moore from coming true. I want to see Pollard more involved. David Hellman has tweeted out, because you can't tweet out specifics this year at Cowboys camp, it's stupid, whatever, that they are aware that they have 2 dynamic backs in Pollard and Zeke Elliott. Read between the lines, they're finding ways to get Pollard and Zeke on the field in creative ways and even at the same time. Pollard had a remarkable efficient season on the ground, but there's also receiving game value. Now, it does get a little bit tricky when it comes to who do you pull off the field to get Pollard on there. If in this hypothetical, you're keeping Zeke out there, don't need breathers though, but to get Zeke and Pollard out there, it means you got to pull probably either CeeDee Lamb or Blake Jarwin. I'm not sure how much I really want to do that, but a package or 2 a game, an extra 5 snaps a game, that one sounds intriguing to me. Now, speaking of CeeDee Lamb, by the way, you're trying to find extra touches for these guys. Pollard is your kick returner. I think CeeDee Lamb has a real chance to be the punt returner this year for the Dallas Cowboys. He's been getting some reps in camp early. I don't think he'll be out there every single punt return because this is an added risk of injury. At the same time, you've got all these touches going to Zeke and to Pollard potentially and Blake Jarwin and, of course, Gallup and Cooper. If you can get an extra dozen a season, even just that amount on punt returns, I think that has value. Now, Lamb wasn't great on punt returns at Oklahoma, but there were some fair catches mixed in there. I think the way the Cowboys should use him, and I think this is what they'll do, we'll see if I'm correct or not, Lamb becomes your dynamic return guy, quote unquote, which is really what Tavon Austin was last year. And then you have a hands guy. So when you're backed up against your own end zone, you're not going to send out CeeDee Lamb just to call a fair catch. You could send Cedric Wilson out there, and that also reduces your risk of injury. I know that risk concerns some of you. So let me know what you think. Do you want CeeDee Lamb on punt returns? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I'm fine with it. Just, don't be too, crazy in terms of jeopardizing his body. But I think for this year, it's a good decision. I do want to update you guys on Dez Bryant because, well, I know how you guys feel about him. There's a chance he ends up going to the Baltimore Ravens. Is in Baltimore right now for a workout with the team. He has to go through the whole COVID testing stuff and all of that before he can truly and really work out with them. But this is a really great step for Dez Bryant, who I know is desperate to get back out there and be a member of the NFL once again. There was mutual interest way back when the Cowboys first cut him. Dez's headspace was not right. I think he's in a better headspace right now. The Ravens just want to see what he has, which is the first step. Just because he's getting a workout does not mean Dez will end up signing. But if he fares well, the Ravens have a need at wide receiver. I would love to see Dez get another shot in the NFL. I don't know what he's going to be like. The workout's just the first step in the whole process there. He's not going to be prime Dez Bryant, but as a potential red zone guy for Lamar Jackson, maybe it could make some sense for Baltimore. I do think the Ravens, by the way, make a whole lot more sense than the Dallas Cowboys do. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.